Good day to my lovely lecturer, Dr. Hema, and my fellow friends. Today, we are going to present our English analysis for Assignment 1. Before we dive right into it, I would like to introduce the members of Group 6. First, we have ELOISE Tan, followed by me, Vanessa Mathivanan. Third, NORELL. Next is NADIA ADRIANA, TENGKU SHAZRINA ALIA, and finally WANI. To begin this Assignment 1, which consists of the critical analysis that has been done, according to the three aspects of linguistic field, to evaluate the chosen media that we choose and unravel it into word and sentence structures so that we understand how it is formed and what its interpretation according to these factors. The three aspects includes morphology, the study of word structure and formation, syntactic, the study of grammatical relationships between words and sentences to create syntax tree, and lastly semantics, that is used to interpret words, phrases, and sentences into its meaning. For this critical analysis, two media sources are selected. The first media is titled Morning News, now full broadcast NBC News posted on June 20, 2023. The second media content is a poster advertisement for Healogics, which is a medical supply company in Florida and is promoting their wound care center for diabetic patients. Now on, I will pass to the next presenter.
Now I will explain about morphology. So morphology is a linguistic branch that focuses on the study of words and formations of words. It delves into the way in which words are composed of smaller meaningful units called morphemes. These morphemes, whether they are roots, suffixes, or prefixes, contributes to the overall meaning and grammatical function of a word. And there are two types of morphemes, which are free and bound morphemes. For free morphemes, it is also known as independent morpheme because words under this category can stand alone. There are two groups under free morphemes, which are lexical and functional morphemes. For lexical morpheme, it is an open class words because it can change their meaning when combined with other morphemes. For example, the words diabetes and food as noun and heal as an adjective is examples of lexical morphemes. Next, for functional morphemes. Functional morphemes, on the other hand, does not contain meaning, but it still has function in grammatical roles and connecting words. For example, the word and as conjunction, a as articles, and to as a preposition. All of these words does not have any meaning if it wasn't used in a completed sentences. Next is bound morpheme, or also known as dependent morphemes. These are the affixes that must be attached to the word. So under bound morpheme, we have two categories, which are inflectional and derivational. For inflectional morpheme, it is used to indicate the aspects of grammatical function in a word. For example, we can take the words wounds from our poster. The root word is wound, and the inflectional morpheme is S. Next is derivational morpheme. This is different to inflectional morphemes because it is a morpheme that can change the part of speech of the word when it is added to the free morpheme. For example, the word treatment, treat act as a verb, and the root word for treatment and the word ment is a derivational morpheme. That's it from me. I will pass this to the next presenter.
Next is word formation. Word formation refers to the way new words are formed on the basis of the other words or morphemes. From the advertisement poster and the new broadcast, we have obtained three types of word formation, which are acronym, compounding, and suffixation. Acronym is abbreviation from initial letter of words and pronounced as a word. For example, UNICEF. UNICEF stands for United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Next is compounding. Compounding is combining two or more words together to form a new word. For example, is businessman. The word businessman comes from the word business and the word man that are combined together, becoming businessman. Last but not least is suffixation. Suffixation is formation of word with help of suffixes. For example, the word rising, it is from the root word rise and added with suffix ing, becoming rising. Okay, next. Now let us move to the syntactic part. Syntactic is a branch of grammar that studies the rule and principle that govern the structure of a phrase or sentence. These include word orders, phrases, and sentence structure. Most of the sentences in English language follow subject-verb-object order that consists of multiple phrases. For example, in order to build a well-constructed sentence, the sentence must contain a noun and a noun phrase and a verb phrase. The other phrases like prepositional phrase and adjective phrase are optional, and it is not compulsory to be in a sentence. Now I'm passing to the next presenter, Vanessa.
Moving forward in syntactic, to create a syntax tree, we must know the syntax rules. There are 4 phrase syntax rules and also 1 syntax sentence rule. So every time when we do a syntax tree, we must begin analyzing it from the right of the sentence and connect it with whatever word on its left. The first example is Anna is not alone, which is taken from the poster. It is a simple sentence. This sentence is joined by 2 phrases which are noun phrase and verb phrase. In this sentence, there's only one noun, which is the lady named Anna. This automatically makes it a noun phrase because a noun can also stand on its own to be a phrase. Meanwhile, the verb phrase is created from the auxiliary verb is and the adjective phrase. Every verb phrase must contain a verb. Meanwhile, the adjective phrase can be formed by joining adverbs with adjectives. So, following on is the next example. For the sentence 34.2 million people in the US live with diabetes, which is also taken from the poster. And this syntax tree shows its structure. Same goes to the example of this syntax tree, but this time is from the news broadcast. The sentence goes like this. Influencing in a multi-billion business is a dream job for many. This sentence also includes all the syntax rules and also creating a structural sentence. Moving on to Secretary of State Blinken discusses meeting with Chinese President. This sentence above consists of 3 syntax rules, which is a noun phrase that can be made of nouns combined with either determiners, adjectives, phrases, or prepositional phrase. As for this sentence, all of the noun phrases are created from nouns only. The nouns that can be found in the sentence are Secretary, State, Blinken, meeting, Chinese, and President. Next is the prepositional phrase that are made of prepositions combined with noun phrase, and the preposition that can be found in the sentence are of and with. Lastly is the verb phrase, which is created by combining verbs with either adverbs, noun phrase, or prepositional phrase. The verb that can be found in this sentence is discussed, which is combined with noun phrase.
Next is semantic. According to Finnegan, semantic can be defined as the study of the systematic ways in which language structure meaning, especially in word or sentence. In other words, semantic can be defined as the study of the meaning, and it can be applied to the entire sentence or single word. Semantic has 3 types of meaning, which is linguistic meaning, social meaning, and affective meaning. Now, let's take a look at linguistic meaning. Linguistic meaning is a word or sentence that is referred to someone, object, situation, or event. For example, based on our news broadcast, the sentence, "We know President Biden spent the afternoon yesterday with Gavin Newsom, the governor, to talk about climate change and the project he has in the work. Explanation. This sentence is referred to the situation where the president is spending time with the governor yesterday afternoon talking about environment issue and political. Next, the sentence is taken from the poster which is Anna is not alone. This sentence is referred to the situation that show Anna is not on her own and has many supporters who are facing the same issue as her. Next.
Okay, next, moving on to the social meaning. The term social meaning identifies the constellation of traits that linguistic form convey about the social identity of their users. For example, demographic, personality, and ideological orientation. So let's take a look at the example with me. 5 Palestinians are dead, including 2 teenagers and dozens more injured after that raid in the occupied West Bank. This sentence provided social meaning in semantic because it conveys information about social and political event. The use of Palestinians in this sentence shows that it involved group of people, implying a potential conflict or even in the context of Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And then the use of teenagers add an emotional and human element to the information, emphasizing the impact on the young life. The sentence has social meaning because it's a report on a tragic event involving loss of life and injuries, particularly affecting young people. So next, affective meaning. Affective meaning refers to the emotional or subjective association that words, phrases, or expressions carry. Compare additional meaning, expressive meaning, the personal feelings expressed by a speaker or a writer. This, the personal feeling, attitudes, or values of an author or speaker infer from their words and or nonverbal behavior. So let's take a look at the example. She was surprised to learn she was at risk for diabetic foot ulcer. The sentence is effective in semantic because it conveys an emotional responses, specifically surprise in the context of discovering a risk for diabetic foot ulcer. The emotional tones add a layer of personal engagement and significances to the information being shared, making it more impactful for the reader or listener. The sentence is an effective meaning because it shows how surprised she is to know that she's at risk of foot diabetic ulcer. Next.
Moving on to the next topic, we have lexical semantics. In the news broadcast and the poster that we have studied, we have found many kinds of lexical semantics such as synonym, antonym, connotative, denotative, hypernym, and hyponym. So let's take a look at synonym first. So synonym is a word that has a similar or identical meaning to another word in the same language. So as you can see from the table here, we have 2 examples. I'm going to take one example. This rescue is so difficult, compounded to the fact that even Navy submarines are believably unable to get down to that depth, and getting it even to that location is complicated. So the explanation here, the word complicated and difficult show similarity in meanings. Both of the words are defined as having many parts or aspects that are usually interrelated. Next, we have antonym. Antonym is a word that has the opposite meaning of another word. So let's take a look here. Do you think it's necessary? I think it is unnecessary. So as you can see, 2 of the sentence contains non-gradable antonym, which are necessary and unnecessary. The word necessary indicates something or someone that is needed for a purpose or a reason, while unnecessary, which is the contrast of necessary, indicates the opposite meaning, which is not needed or more than is needed. Next, hyponymy and hypernym. Hyponymy is known as subordinates, while hyponymy is known as superordinates. So both are a hierarchical between words, which one word, hyponym, is a specific subtype of another word, hyponym. So let's take a look here. We have medical condition as hyponym, while diabetes ulcer infection is known as hyponym, which is subordinates. Next. We have denotative and connotative. Denotative refer to the literal or dictionary definition of a word. So you can see here that we have an example from the media that we studied, alone. Alone for denotative means without any other people. Alright, so next we have connotative. Connotative is the emotional or cultural associations that a word carries. So the connotative meaning of alone could mean loneliness, independence, or isolations. Next, ambiguity. Ambiguity is the possibility of having two or more meanings in a single passage. There are two types of ambiguity, which is structural and lexical ambiguity. Lexical ambiguity is two meanings within a single word. So let's take a look here to the example of lexical ambiguity. Colin Taylor went on one last summer with his son. The first meaning is a final summer trip or vacation that Colin Taylor went on with his son on this year. While the second meaning, the final summer of Colin Taylor's life, and he went on a vacation to spend time with his son during that period. So which means it's his last life during that year. So he no longer accompanies his son. For structural ambiguity, it contains two meanings within a single sentence or sequence of words. Example of structural ambiguity, the suspect now being held on suspicion of murder. The first meaning conveys the suspect is currently being held and there is a suspicion that they committed a murder, while the second meaning says that the suspect is being held on suspicion and the charge is murder. Next.
So next, to sum everything up from the critical analysis that we have made, it is clearly proven that morphology, morphemes, syntax rule, and tree, as well as a plethora of semantic features, all play a significant role in the creation of word phrases and sentence in English language. That is, convey a clear meaning for the audience to understand whether it is verbally from the news broadcast or written from the advertisement poster. Deconstructing and reassembling the meaning of sentence, phrase, and individual words that aids in linguistic learners' comprehension of the word formation, sentence, and the relationship between the spoken and written language and emotion. Okay, that's all from us, and thank you.